Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So we're going to be doing a ClairTarot reading for an energy update. I was told for today's energy update that I have to encourage you to recognize the need to let go, to just open your hand and let go. This could be letting go of quite a bit of different things. It's not clear as to what needs to be let go of. It's just that something needs to be let go. All right. So hold on real quick. I have all this tangled up in front of me. So, with everything that's going on, probably around the world, everything that's going on in our personal lives, letting go could definitely open us to different cycles of being, different ways of existing. When you hold on to certain aspects of yourself and of your journey, there's a higher tendency for you to hold on to the things that don't serve you anymore. Okay. And so you have to make sure what you're holding on to actually still needs to be held on to. And that's the thing though, whatever is meant for you, and this obviously applies to relationships and across the board, whatever belongs to you, whatever should be with you, you don't have to hold on to. It will just naturally be there. It will be drawn to you and want to stay by you. So let's just pull some cards. All right. We're doing the card pulling. How's every morning so far? Or evening, afternoon? I don't know, wherever you're at. How is your day so far? No. All right, hold on. Okay, I'm trying to be all avoidance girl. Learn your lesson with the whole avoidance thing. Let the cards flow as they're meant to flow. Just letting it flow as it's meant to flow. That's what we're supposed to do. I still struggle with letting go as well. Letting go of my need to avoid is what it is. Hold on, guys. All right, we're almost done. One or two more decks, maybe three. Good morning.
Morning. It's so cold.
It is. Just like my frozen heart. Why are you laughing? That is truth escaping my lips.
You heat it up for you.
Do I? Oh, I turned off the heater.
You want me to turn it on?
No, please don't. I forgot I needed this deck too, to balance out the juju of the energy. All right. Whew. I feel a lot of shifting going on right now. I just saw an article written by the Philippine News, talking about how 3 volcanoes are active around the perimeter of the Ring of Fire. Very, very interesting. We're on the topic of letting go, letting things just rise up and releasing. And it seems like Gaia's doing that already. Someone commented before I went live here that apparently a volcano in Italy is going active too. So very, very interesting times we're living in. So clarity. And clarity does not come from you talking. Well, it's not even the talking that's the issue. It seems like many of us, that this is bringing to light how many of us talk not to share ideas, not to share thoughts, but to try and dominate a conversation. Okay. Case in point, someone had commented how they're enlightened to the way the world works. I just saw this too. They're enlightened to the way the world works, and that the work that I do serves the Satanists and this and that. Maybe if you had asked, I would have been more inclined to share with you. I discovered that information in the 1990s. You're not the only one that understands how the world works. And as a matter of fact, it's not just the Satanists, it's not just the Black Pope. They answer to someone else that's galactic. And what's going on right now is really the releasing of this paradigm that we're existing within. That's dropping back down while many of us are choosing to rise up. If you're not going to be open to conversation, and conversation is a dialogue, it's not a monologue, then you're not going to receive the clarity that you're seeking. Because really, not everyone will share everything that they know. There are those who, like me, I've uncovered quite a bit of information. I don't feel the need to stand on a soapbox and declare how much I know to prove how much I've researched. Like, I did that for me, for my own clarity, and for those who are open to discussion, to sharing. Yeah, I'll openly share the things that I found, and we can share together and maybe grow each other that much more. But when people speak, oftentimes now it's not really to share information. It's another way to try and dominate a conversation, a way to stand on a soapbox and declare their value. I mean, does a lion have to roar to announce that it's a lion? No. It just enters the space, and everything around it that witnesses it knows exactly what it is, knows the potentiality that it carries with it, knows about the fangs and the claws and the ability. So you don't have to declare and like, I know everything, I know more. That's good that you know. Really, it truly is. It's good that you know. I didn't respond because I was going to respond, but I realized that response would come from an unbalanced ego. There's no need to, when someone is fully believing something about themselves, it's very difficult to convince them of something different. And is it my job to convince them of something different? That's their truth, right? That's their truth. My truth is mine, their truth is theirs. And collectively together, each of our truths can interlock and create a bigger picture. But the truth is, as a puzzle piece, your truth is very, very limited. And I understand that. My truth is very, very limited. It's one piece of a huge 5,000 piece puzzle. How small is that piece if it's a 5,000 piece puzzle? Ooh. Card number 28, shadow self. And maybe that's the clarity that we're seeking. That much of the things that are rising up right now that are needing to be let go of are the things that are imbalanced and we're hidden away in the shadow self. I'm not talking about our personal power. I'm talking about the other aspects of ourself that really were methods of coping, a very unbalanced, somewhat toxic way to cope with life circumstances, the things that we've experienced, the things that we've lived through. And I will tell you this, there's no real right or wrong when it comes to your decision on how to process. I'm a very, very staunch believer that everything that happens to you is happening to you for a reason. It's trying to teach you something that no other person or circumstance could possibly teach you at the depth it's taking you to. So I'm not afraid of drama. I'm not afraid of difficult circumstance, of struggling, of pain. I know all of these things will serve me in my growth. It will simply help me to rise in a much more graceful way. And when you allow the shadow self to, do what it's created to do, which is help balance the light, you become a totality. You become a whole person versus a fractionated duality. You're able to tap into aspects of yourself that you're needing as you travel this life that you're in. Okay, you need every aspect of yourself to help grow you, to help truly understand. Now, card number 13, power of attraction. You're attracting to you the very events, the circumstance, the interactions, the individuals, the energies that you are needing to grow yourself. For some of us, this is another person. For others of us, this is the recognition that it's time to let go of your concept of who that other person is to you. That maybe you've outgrown whatever that is. Ooh, did you see the light just go right? It's time to let go. It's time to let go of the hurt, let go of your connection to that moment when that hurt was inflicted. Ooh, the light. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's time to let go. Whatever their title is, the label that was used, open your hand and let go. If they're not willing to fight to stay, if they're not willing to show you why they belong with you on your journey, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It can be a friendship. It can be a business partnership. It can be, I don't know, what other kind of connection there is. If they're not willing to show you through actions, through their presence, why they should stay beside you through this journey, that they're wanting and willing to stay beside you through this journey, let them go. Very simple. Open your hand. There's no trying there. There's no trying. There's simply a freedom that's recognized. When you open your hand and let go, it allows you to be transported to the places you need to go. It allows that which no longer serves you to fall through your fingers, and allows that which rightfully belongs in your hand to remain. There's no trying there. There's no need to try and force things, to try and understand things. Sometimes the only thing you need to understand is it's time to open your hand and love in such an open way that it gives people, circumstance, and whatever else the freedom to go wherever they're meant to be. Allow your love to evolve to that level where it's no longer taking ownership, attempting to take ownership of other people, of circumstance. You just open your hand and let go. That's it. That's it. So many of us exist in an environment that's been darkened by the thoughts and expectations of other people. That's the thing we don't quite understand. Many of us have not realized yet who you think yourself to be is nothing more than a compilation of all the expectations of all the people you've ever come across. Their expectation of who you are to be for them. That's the key part. Who you are supposed to be for them. Each person has a different expectation of you, and your opinion of yourself has largely been based on every single person's expectation of you. Whether their expectation is in alignment with your truth, it's irrelevant to them. Some people will need you to be their hero. Beautiful. Are you actually a hero? Probably not. 91% at 819. 91819. Ooh, it was just 14 minutes and 44 seconds. 1444. Some people will need you to be a hero. They'll see you as the hero. That's beautiful. Do you need to be the hero? No. Are you actually a hero? Probably not. Some people will need a villain. You've just been volunteered. They will villainize you. They will look for others who will help them to justify their wrongful villainization of you. Are you actually a villain? Probably not. Does it matter? No. Some people will need you to fill some sort of role, a role that's been lacking. That could be a mother figure, a father figure, a sibling, a best friend, a mortal enemy, arch nemesis. It goes both ways. And everyone will have this expectation of you. They will try and get you to fulfill the shoes, the role that they've set out, regardless of whether those shoes fit your feet or not. They will try and ram your foot into it, but only if you let them. If you're busy walking your own path, how can someone stick your foot into a shoe that does not belong to you? They can't. So keep walking. The people, the circumstance that is to be with you for this segment of your journey will walk with you. You ever see that movie, Forrest Gump? He ran, I believe, from coast to coast, right? That's what the story was. He ran and ran and ran. One day he just started running and he didn't stop. And it didn't matter what people thought of him. It didn't matter to him. He felt the need to run, so he ran. Some people thought he was crazy. Some people were super duper inspired. There were those who ran with him for a short period, those who tried to run with him for a long time, but none of that mattered. He ran because that's what he felt he needed to do. Without understanding why, one day he just started running. And one day he decided he was done. And that's kind of what life is, where you just go wherever you think you need to go and change direction whenever you feel the need to change it. So card number 3, Sleeping Beauty's dream. And this is what we're at right now. We're in a messy dream that we all co-created. This is like a semi-dream state that we're existing within. Whenever you try and partake, whenever you try and force yourself to fit into a box, you are sedating the truth of your sovereignty. Oh, let that sink in. Whenever you try to fit in, whenever you try to fit yourself into the box, a box, any box, however size box you want, as long as it's a box, it confines you. And when you try and fit into the boxes created to confine you, you sedate your sovereignty. Let that sink in. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. A lot. A lot of stuff. There's a fire ignited. Excuse me. It's this sense, and I don't want to be insensitive to the things that peoples of different nations are experiencing right now. Fires of volcanoes, fires from Australia. It's like this entire paradigm is being dismantled and burned, systematically burned. And it's from the ashes of those fires that we rise, unified as a people, unified in our diversity, recognizing we don't need to fully understand before we can allow ourselves to be willing to submit to the will of soul, not someone else's soul, but yourself, your own soul, your own path, your own path. What is knitting and crocheting? It is a designed tangle, right? It's nothing but a series of tangles. intentional tangles. And so what is life? If you are a string, what is life? Nothing but a series of tangles, a string tangled, intertwined with other string, with other parts of that same string. Or are we not just all one string, unified as a string? And we are all just entangled within each other. It's time for us to just be still. Card number 5. Be still. Allow yourself to receive the information. Because what is the hair? Yarn barf. What is the hair? The hair is said to be the antenna to receive the messages from soul. So allow yourself to receive. When your hand is so tightly clutched around something because of your fear of letting go, and look at her hair, rainbows, electric, beautiful, beautiful. When you have your hand gripped so tightly around something because you're afraid of the loss, the perception of loss, your hand is not open to receive. You will not receive. But when you open your hand, creation can put directly into your hand the very information, circumstance, and individuals that you're needing. You're being given everything that you need. So card number 43, come to life. Look at that growth in between the black and the white tile. You have so much growth in between every step of your life. Life is more than just black and white. If you were to ask me, what is my personal definition of God, God energy, God source, prime creator, universe, creation, whatever you want to call it, what is this? Explain to me, what is this divinity? It's the everything and the nothing and the spaces in between. It's the black and the white and the gray in between zone. And that's where we are. We're in the in-between. So many different factors trying to tell you how to paint, how to heal yourself. If you are an artist of life and it's through the colors of your paints that you create the masterpiece of your life, is it really your masterpiece if someone else is telling you what colors to use, where to apply the colors? It's not. That's not a masterpiece. That's one of those paint and wine events, something fun to do with your girlfriends or on a date. That's not a masterpiece. A masterpiece is something created within your heart, filtered through your mind, and made manifest by your fingers. That's what a masterpiece is. Isn't that what we are? Masterpieces turned into the density of flesh. Because we began as a note in a song of the heart of creation, filtered through its consciousness, became a thought form and was spoken into being. And then we exist. And as your colors get mixed with other colors, you then find you are a living tapestry all on your own. Because what is yarn? It's a fiber. It's a bunch of tiny fibers that are entangled with each other, twisted and turned and entangled. And that tangle is then further entangled with other tangled. It's just nothing but tangle and tangle and tangle. And so it's time for you to come to life. It's time for you to begin painting your masterpiece. It's time for us to recognize, because the message is coming through. Let me just pop this chat out because I suddenly have no functional chat. How convenient. No, that's not what I want. Please do what I want. Just please do what I want. I don't know why I turned into Nacho Libre right now. Like an amazing movie. 'Tis the truth of my life, not show. So what I'm seeing right now, my attention is being drawn to the honey. Okay. The honey. Who's to say that's not Manuka honey? Who's to say, with this really intense exfoliation process that humanity is experiencing, that the abrasions have become so intense that it's no longer microderm abrasion type abrasion. It's full on, like, second degree. There's some chunks of your skin missing. You're super de-duper, feeling raw, feeling wounded, just, you feel miserable. And guess what? Honey is an amazing, amazing substance. It is antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. It creates a layer of moisture that really helps to seal that wound. I mean, this is an amazing, amazing gift. And so we're being told it's time to paint some honey on the legs. Why the legs? Because we're being prepared to move forward from where we have been placed in this creation. We are getting ready to get up and run. Okay? Now is the time to prepare yourself. Running is about to occur. It's also time to separate yourself from this notion that something outside of you is necessary to protect you. The whole guardians and guides, spirit guides, and galactic family, and that's all beautiful and everything, but do you need that? Are you telling me that you are incapable on your own? You don't need that. Stop allowing yourself to be lulled into some state of complacency where something outside of you is going to live your life for you, because that's not how it works. It's no longer your creation. When you do that, it is no longer your creation. And I want to make very clear, yes, I do have a Michael presence around me. He does not tell me what to do. All he does is support whatever it is I decide to do. You have to live your life. You cannot pass your power away to someone else, something outside of you. This is what creates so many issues. And there's a lot of people who watch, who share space with me and listen to the things I say, and they're like, "Oh, I talk to Michael too. He tells me to do this and this and this." I ask you to reconsider, because the Michael that I talk to, 83% at 833, the Michael that I talk to never tells me what to do, ever. And it's not because I'm sassy. It's not because I'm badass. It's because the Michael that I talk to is not a mimic. He is not a mimic. He's not going to tell me what to do. Nope. Even when I ask, even when I give him permission to dictate to me, he does not. He does not. None of the work that I do takes from his power. Nope. 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 I want to make that very, very clear. Know what you are partaking in. Know what you are communing with. If you have a being that is telling you what to do, even if it looks ridiculously beautiful, question that. Question that. Some of the most benevolent beings that have come to me with the most profound information for my truth, that has helped me to ascend to higher levels of dimensional consciousness, have looked nasty. And I'm like, I'm going to burn you. You better go away. I don't listen to demonic stuff. You're not going to convince me to listen to you. And turns out they're not demonic. They look demonic. So our concept altogether, our concept of what's good and what's bad, it's definitely, it's been skewed. Not all things beautiful are pure. Okay? Not all things beautiful have integrity. So just keep that in mind. Card number 32, touch the sky. Your higher self is sending down a rope for you to climb up. It's just waiting for you. Your higher self is the only thing you should be listening to. Everything outside of your higher self should simply serve as confirmation of information, guidance that your higher self is giving you directly. That's all. Nothing that I say should be taken as the word of God unless it's something your higher self already gave you information about and I'm just reiterating it. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt. Please take everything anyone says with a grain of salt. Analyze it, see how it fits in your truth, see if it resonates. Be open to the potentiality that someone else outside of you can help to ripen your truth as you know it. But you do not at any point adopt someone else's complete story as though it were your own. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's not. If you went to spirituality to free yourself from religion, if you went to the New Age movement, whatever movement followed after the New Age movement, whatever it's called now, the light worker, whatever, I don't know. I don't partake in any of that. Please know that that is nothing but another progression of the mind control that is used in religion. What I partake in is sovereignty and gnosis. All of those are self-contained. Self-contained. A process that allows you to call back to you your own truths from all your lives. Gnosis and sovereignty is what I practice. I am not associating myself with spiritualism. I am not associating myself with light work, New Age movements. I'm not even associating myself with Keylontic science or Kathara. That's been infiltrated too. It's become very, very clear to me. That has been infiltrated as well. So rely on yourself. Rely on yourself. You have a direct link to divinity. I'm simply helping to trigger your processing of that information you got from your own self. And if the information you're getting from me right now does not resonate, do not take it in. It is not your truth. It is not meant for you. I have no desire to be right. None. I have no desire to prove that I'm more experienced, more intelligent. Like we're not even reading the same book, guys. None of us are reading the same book. Okay. Here's the thing. This is what I realized, and this is what really set me free. I'm not reading a book. I'm writing it. People are so desperate to find the book of life and read from the book of life, failing to understand you are not to read the book of life. You are to write it through your life. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You are not to read, you are to write. Through your actions and your words, your story is being written by the witnessing of others as you walk your journey, walk your path. Let that sink in, okay? Let that adjust your perspective. As you adjust your perspective, you'll begin to realize what your truth actually is. Not because someone else is telling you what your truth is or how to interpret your truth, but because the veil of confusion is being dissolved by the heat of your sacred flame. Remember, fire, okay? Baptism through the flames. That fire is baptizing us. Burning away the old matrix, the one that encourages you to give your power away to religious leaders, to governments, to people in places of authority, to groups, think tanks. No more of that. No more of that. I see this for me as my inner child giving that construct one last hug before I let it go. Thank you for being my friend for as long as you were. I'm now grown and it's time for you to go. Go back into the fire and feed my flame, because I rise alone. I'm no longer afraid to rise alone. And that's a huge thing. That's a huge, huge thing, because so many of us are so afraid to rise alone, as though the more we have with us, the more individuals we have with us as we rise, if we're doing the wrong thing, that means there's less for me to take in as part of my response. Oh, I was just part of a group. I mean, is it all my fault? Yes. Your part is your fault. All of that is your fault. You decided to follow the group. You decided to insulate yourself from your truth. You were afraid to be burned by your own fire. So you gathered all of these individuals as volunteers to use as insulation for your flame. And when they all get burned up, because this journey was by yourself, it was always supposed to be by yourself. When they all get burned up and torn from your hands, yes, that is your fault because you involved other people in a process that was calibrated specifically for you. You won't be burned by your fire, but all of that fake level of truth and community and all of that, they're not calibrated to withstand the flames of your truth, the flames of your rise. So yes, that is your fault because you involved people in a process that really was a solo project. So if you need to play that game of, it's not my fault, yes, it is your fault. But if you can release the need to blame and just take accountability, you know what? I was afraid for a period of my life because I didn't think I could handle this journey alone. I was afraid of failure. I was afraid that I wasn't enough. And I invited people into this journey of mine, this solo journey of mine, because of that fear. And when the time came, they were released, and I don't wish them harm. I recognize, though, that it was wrong of me to involve other people in a very solo type project. And now I have to give myself permission to move on from that. It helped me to learn something very, very important. And now I'm moving on from that lesson. That lesson has already been learned. So you have to have patience with your own process. You have to. You have to. You have to quiet your mind. You have to quiet all of these monkey mind condemnations of a process it has no idea about. Okay? We oftentimes allow our monkey minds to go ahead and condemn us for things the monkey mind has no idea about. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So card number 6, shock of the new. Shock of the new. This is going to be a very, very new way of being for so many of us. It's such a new way of being because it's the oldest way we were. That's it. You're not actually becoming something new. You're releasing all of the layers and returning back to a version of yourself that you haven't experienced in so long that it seems new because it's so foreign to you. But it's actually your truth returning to you, the truth of who you have always been beneath all the layers of expectation. That's coming back to you. That is what you're going to begin communicating. And if you need to cry in acknowledgement of the oppression that this version of you has experienced, then so be it. Cry it out. There's nothing shameful or weak about that. There was this quote that, this post that I saw, it was so ridiculously profound. It says, someone said to another person, "Why are you crying? It doesn't solve anything." And the other person responds, "I'm not crying to solve the problem. I'm crying to release." 76% at 8:44. So you cry to release. It's not a shameful thing. It's not a sign of weakness. It's none of that. It's a release. It's a release. So allow yourself to release. Release the old so the truth of you can rise. All right? Release the old so the truth of you can rise. And sometimes you just gotta caca it out. I so dislike this card. uh, mm. I'm seeing it differently right now. So for some of us, we just become so full of the bullshit. Some of us have become so full of bullshit, and it's time to just evacuate the bowels, okay? The spiritual bowels, just let it go. Yeah, release the kraken. Exactly. Release the kraken. But for others of us, this is a recognition that at some point in your growth, you were severed from your roots and formed into a different being. And now you're sitting on the top of your roots, okay? You're sitting there trying to figure out how to become you again. Well, that's the thing. That's one of the most beautiful things. When you cut a tree down by its tree trunk, the roots are left intact. Your roots were left intact. Get off of that tree, water it. Let it bathe under the light of your own truth so it can grow again. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to implant yourself into the tree or anything like that. The tree will regrow. That's a part of its legacy. Okay? It will continue to grow for as long as the roots are not damaged. You will continue to grow. Your roots are not damaged. There's a reason they're buried very deep, deep within your shadows. You will continue to grow. Your entire life, you will grow. And all you have to do for now is sit on that stump and think about what it is I'm saying. Understand that you haven't actually been severed from you and your truth. It's a perception of it because you've actually begun identifying with a version of you that is not the truth. That's why it feels so separate. So now it's time to bloom. Just bloom. Do flowers have to think about how to bloom? Do they? They don't. They just bloom. Is there a timeline for the flowers to use when they bloom? Do they have to follow directions? No, they don't. They just bloom. They just do their thing. That's all they do. Do their thing. Allow themselves to take in the light of truth. Oh, yesterday, someone had made a comment about we were talking about a plant-based diet and consuming animal products, and someone had mentioned about plants have no blood. Well, as soon as that live stream ended, I went to go check my notifications on Facebook, and I came across an article. Fascinating how creation works. I want to just share that with you guys really quick. Hold on. It was super fascinating to me. Here. So the article states, the study was headed by Andras and Anders from Hungary and Denmark. They used advanced monitoring techniques known as terrestrial laser scanning to survey the movement of 22 different types of trees. The investigation on trees revealed that while trees sleep at night, they routinely have beats pulsate throughout their body. These pulses are the trees distributing water throughout its body, similar to the way a heart pumps blood through the body. Wow! I was like, what? What is blood but a liquid water containing plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets? I love, love, love when I experience moments of triggering aspects of me that are still needing my attention, needing further observation. And I did get triggered. I don't put blame on the person that had commented that. I don't remember who commented, but it was a moment of recognition. Like, that still triggers me because there is still a part of me that I guess that was upset that I allowed myself to be shamed into participating in a program that was not beneficial for me, because I started feeling sick as a vegan probably after year 1. And I continued for another 5.5 years. I was strictly vegan for 6.5 years. And I continued to force myself to partake in that because I convinced myself that if I didn't, I was inferior. I was part of the evil in this world, and that I'm a horrible person, and that I should be ashamed. And, you know, triggering is a sign that there are still things that need to be healed within yourself. Stop making it about the other person. Whoever triggered you is not what you need to be focusing on. You know, when people trigger me, it's like, thank you to those who trigger me, because it's you that's gifting me the opportunity to recognize, as much as I thought that I've healed, there are still aspects within that very subject matter that still need the healing. You know, it's not about the veganism. It's not about the triggering. It's about recognizing what your internal process is, letting go of things that no longer serve you, allowing yourself to be unchained from the very structures of belief that created the freaking cage to begin with. You know, so everything that happens, you have to allow yourself to stop being distracted with the identity of the individual that's delivering the message, that's creating the potentiality for a ripening of your growth. You have to, or else you won't actually grow. You're going to keep chipping away little microchips at a huge wall, wondering how come you're not growing. Why is this still hurt? Because you keep focusing on something else. It's like you have a bag of tools that will help you to dismantle this wall in front of you, and you choose to use I don't know, a dentist drill. And you're like, oh, I've got the tool. It's the tools. No, look in your fucking bag of tools. You got a sledgehammer in there. You got a jackhammer. Use that. Use that. And when we recognize how it is we're actually allowing ourselves to continue to perpetuate the wounds we think we're healing, you free yourself to truly healing it. You free yourself to truly, truly healing it. So now is the time for us to begin letting go. Now is the time for us to recognize what it is we need to recognize. There will be people who are brought to your path to aggravate you to no end. There will be people who will irritate you just because they exist. Is that what you need to focus on? Or do you need to focus on the reason behind why they irritate you? Do they irritate you because they reflect aspects of yourself that to date you haven't fully acknowledged or addressed? Aspects that need some modification. And no one knows the answer to that, okay? No one knows the answer to that except you. The only way you're going to learn the answer is if you sit in stillness and allow yourself to be immersed in your truth, in your journey. And as long as you try and avoid your own journey, you will avoid the answers that will lead to your growth. That's how it works. That's how it works. So we're going to be letting go. Oh, this was the most profound one. Let it go. Just let it go. Allow the thought to develop into a realization that you've been holding on to a moment that's no longer there. It might have been something for a moment. Might have, maybe not. Maybe it was reciprocated, maybe it wasn't. But for you, as a part of your truth, whoever this is to you, it might have been something for a moment, but that moment is gone. It's been gone. You can't hold on to something that no longer is there. So free yourself to walk forward. Just free yourself. If it was a true connection, that connection will always exist energetically. But in this life, as you live the identity that you are right now, let this go. Don't wait for it to come back. Don't wait for it to recognize your worth. All it is a need for you to recognize your own worth. All it is you needing to just keep going. You've already learned everything you needed to learn from this, okay? So just walk forward. Some of us are not meant to have a reconnection, okay? So it's perfectly fine. What I'm told I need to find another another what? As we're going through the process, this life seems so much bigger than what it actually is. So we're kind of in this process where we're so focused on this world existence. But as you ascend and the fires quiet down, since much of the illusion is being burned away, you recognize it's really not that big. It's really not that big. Notice the difference. Notice the difference. Notice the change in energy to something more peaceful. Excuse me. So allow yourself to recognize exactly what this is. It's something, but it's not as big as what you're making it out to be. Whatever you're experiencing right now, whatever you're struggling through, it's really not as big as you think it is, as it feels like it is. Just let go, open your hand and let go. Whatever is meant to be with you will be with you. Friends, support, love, whatever it is. And whatever drifts away, drifts away. Let it. Love yourself and the other enough that you just allow it. Okay? Just allow it. Love in a way that creates freedom instead of more bondage. Bondage is not the same as a bond. Bondage is oppression. If your love in some way, shape, or form oppresses someone else, that is not a bond. That is bondage. Okay? So time to heal the trauma bonds, and maybe your bond with that twin thing is a trauma bond. Maybe it's a previous life trauma that you're allowing to bleed over into this life, and it needs to just be let go. Okay? So thank you guys so much for sharing this space with me. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. You guys know the freaking frequency. Come back for more. Bye.